All right, everybody, welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about redheads.
Redheads.
That's right. And I got to say, I was not expecting to learn so much about redheads, but
Oh, there's a lot to learn.
there is. There really is. Like, I'm
Uh-huh.
talking pain tolerance, celebrity redheads. I mean, even a whole festival dedicated to them.
There is.
So, yeah.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up for sure. So let's start with the basics, right? Only about 2% of the world's population are redheads.
It's true. A very small percentage.
Small but mighty right.
Exactly.
I was looking at the geography of it all, and you'd think Ireland and Scotland would be just wall-to-wall redheads.
You would.
And they do have a pretty high concentration, like 10%.
Yeah, that's the highest.
But guess what? The
Yep.
country with the most redheads,
Yep.
the United States,
That's right.
was blown away.
Yeah. Thanks to a long history of immigration from those places you mentioned, Ireland and Scotland.
Ah, that makes sense.
Exactly. We're talking an estimated 6 to 18 million redheads in the U.S.
That's what, like a whole army of redheads.
Yeah.
And it's not just the U.S. either, right?
Right.
You've got Australia, New Zealand, even parts of South America.
In Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, you'll find redheads there too.
It's like a global redhead puzzle.
It is, and it's all connected to those historical migrations you mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Groups like the Celts and the Vikings moving around spreading those genes.
Like little redheaded breadcrumbs throughout history.
Exactly.
We're talking ancient redhead explorers.
That's a great way to put it.
So pinpointing the exact origin of red hair is still a little fuzzy.
It is. It's tricky, but these historical connections, they give us some pretty fascinating clues.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but here's where it gets really mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah.
All this redheadedness,
Yeah.
all over the planet, can be traced back to a single gene mutation,
One gene mutation.
roughly 50,000 years ago.
Wow.
Crazy, right? One little tweak in our DNA, and bam, redheads.
Bam, redheads, exactly. It all comes down to this gene called MC1R.
MC1R.
Yeah, have you heard of it?
I have now.
Okay, good. So this gene usually helps produce melanin.
Melanin.
Yeah, and that's what gives us all the shades of hair we see: black, brown, blonde.
Right.
But in redheads, the MC1R gene, it does something a little different.
Different how?
It produces something called pheomelanin.
Pheomelanin.
Yeah, it's a mouthful, but that's what creates those reddish hues we all know and love.
Oh, wow. So it's like a special kind of melanin just for redheads.
Exactly, and it's not just about the color
So
either.
there's more.
Oh yeah, this MC1R gene, it's been linked to other traits, even medical considerations we'll get into later.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued.
Good.
So one gene, the key to the entire redhead experience.
In a way, yes.
Okay, so why red, though? Like, of all the colors, our hair could mutate it to why red?
Well, there's a theory that links it to climate.
No climate.
Yeah, picture our ancient ancestors migrating to colder regions, less sunlight.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Red hair might have actually been an advantage in those environments.
Really? How?
Help the body absorb more vitamin D.
Wait, so red hair was like nature's solution to not enough sun?
You could say that, yeah.
Like a built-in tanning bed hack.
Yeah, kind of.
I do.
So redheads, they have this better ability to absorb UV radiation, and that's essential for vitamin D production.
Right, which would have been super important in those areas with limited sunlight.
Exactly.
Okay, that's amazing. So red hair was like a secret weapon for survival.
It seems so.
But let's be real for a second, redheads and this, and it's a complicated relationship.
It is.
All that extra UV absorption, great for vitamin D, but
Yeah.
you got to be extra careful out there.
Absolutely. Redheads are much more prone to sunburn and have a higher risk of skin cancer.
It's like a trade-off, right?
You could say that.
More vitamin D, but got to be extra diligent with the sunscreen.
Exactly.
And it's not just about the hair either.
No.
Redheads, they experience pain differently too.
They do. It's fascinating, right?
Yeah, totally. So tell me more about that. What's going on there?
Well, studies have shown that in some cases, redheads might have a higher pain tolerance.
Higher.
Yeah, meaning they might not register pain as intensely as others.
Interesting.
But on the flip side, they can also be more sensitive to certain types of pain, like temperature changes.
Wow. So it's not just higher, it's like a totally different experience of pain.
It seems that way.
So like if you're a doctor treating a redhead, you have to adjust things.
It's becoming a more common consideration. Yeah.
Wow.
They might need different dosages of medication, for example, to achieve the same effect.
It's like personalized medicine based on hair color.
And the sensitivity, it extends to temperature too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, redheads might feel the heat or the cold more intensely than others.
This is blowing my mind. We used to think red hair was just a simple recessive trait,
Right.
but now we're seeing it's so much more than that.
It is. It's like having a different blueprint.
A whole different operating system.
Exactly. And this knowledge, It's crucial for medical professionals.
Hmm. Oh, for sure.
Imagine a redhead going in for a procedure,
Yeah.
and the doctor isn't aware of these potential differences.
Yeah. That could be a problem.
It really highlights the importance of understanding how genetics can influence an individual's response to treatment.
Totally. Like personalized healthcare based on hair color. Who knew?
Right. Fascinating stuff.
It really is. Okay, so we've covered genetics, geography, pain perception.
We have,
But what about personality?
yes, the age-old culture.
Right. You know, the whole redheads have a fiery temper thing.
That stereotype.
Is there any truth to that, or is it just a myth?
Well, that's a question that's been debated for centuries.
I bet.
And unfortunately, a lot of these stereotypes, they're rooted in cultural biases, and they just don't have any scientific basis.
So no scientific evidence to back up the fiery redhead stereotype.
Not that we found.
Okay, so officially busted.
Initially busted.
Bummer. I kind of like that one.
I understand the appeal, but it's important to remember that stereotypes, even those seemingly positive ones, they can be harmful.
Right, they can lead to unfair judgments.
Exactly.
It's like judging a book by its cover. You miss the whole story.
Exactly. And speaking of stories, redheads, they've certainly left their mark on history.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Remember all those famous figures we talked about earlier?
George Washington?
George Washington.
Queen Elizabeth I?
Yep. And the list goes on and on.
We can't forget about Vincent van Gogh.
Of course, a redhead.
So we've got artists, leaders, scientists.
Redheads everywhere.
It's like they've got this secret society influencing every aspect of human history.
Maybe they do.
And their impact continues to this day, right?
Absolutely.
Think about all the influential redheads we see today. Actors, musicians, politicians, athletes.
They're making waves in every field imaginable.
It's like a whole redhead revolution.
You could say that.
It's inspiring to see so many redheads defying those old stereotypes and achieving incredible things.
It is.
You know, I'm starting to think there's something about red hair that just attracts attention.
You think so?
Yeah, whether it's on a canvas, a stage, or in a history book.
It's a color that commands attention, evokes strong emotions.
Yeah.
And it's certainly inspired countless works of art.
It has.
But it's more than just appearances. Red hair often symbolizes a certain rebelliousness, independent strength of character.
I can see that especially in literature and popular culture.
For sure.
Think about Anne of Green Gables, right?
Oh,
With her fiery red hair and her independent spirit.
Love that book.
Or Pippi Longstocking.
Oh, yeah, another classic.
With her crazy red braids and her adventurous personality.
Those characters, they wouldn't be the same without their red hair.
No way.
It's part of their identity, their strength,
Yeah.
their charm.
You know what? After all this, I'm starting to think that red hair, it's more than just a physical trait.
I agree.
It's a symbol, a representation of a unique set of experiences and perspectives.
Well said.
It's a reminder that diversity in all its forms, it enriches the world around us.
Beautifully put.
And speaking of unique experiences, there's one more thing I want to mention about redheads and their sensory perceptions.
Oh,
We talked about their sensitivity to pain and temperature.
we did.
Well, research suggests that redheads may also be more sensitive to certain tastes and smells,
Interesting.
like super tasters or something.
It's a possibility.
So they're not just experiencing pain differently, but their whole sensory world is heightened.
It seems so.
Do you think that's why some people think redheads are picky eaters?
Could be. Imagine experiencing flavors and aromas more intensely than others.
Yeah.
It could definitely influence your preferences, make you more attuned to subtle nuances.
Wow, this is blowing my mind. We're talking about a whole different way of experiencing the world.
Exactly, and it highlights the interconnectedness of our senses and how genetics can influence our perception of the world around us.
It's like red hair isn't just a color. It's a key that unlocks a whole different way of sensing and interacting with the world.
I like that.
Me too. You know what? I'm starting to feel a little bit jealous of redheads. Their lives sound so much more vivid.
They just might be.
But alas, we are out of time for part 1.
Already.
I know, right? But don't worry, we'll be back with part 2 to dive even deeper into the world of redheads.
Can't wait.
Me neither. Until then, stay curious.
And keep an eye out for those fiery strands of wonder. You never know what fascinating secrets they might be hiding.
Very well said. All right, everybody, we'll see you in part 2.
See ya.
Welcome back, everybody. Man, I don't know about you, but after that first segment, I am officially fascinated by redheads.
Yeah, it's a Pretty captivating topic.
It really is, and we've only just scratched the surface.
That's right. And remember how we were talking about redheads and their unique experience with pain?
Uh-huh.
Well, there's a fascinating layer we haven't even touched on yet.
Oh, really?
It's not just about the intensity of the pain, but how their brains actually process those signals.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. Break it down for me. What's going on in those redhead brains?
Well, research suggests that the MC1R gene, the one responsible for red hair, it also plays a role in how the body processes pain signals. It's linked to the production of a hormone called melanocortin-1, which can influence pain perception.
So it's like they've got a different operating system for pain.
You could say that.
Does that mean they experience it in a totally different way?
It seems so.
Wow.
And this difference in processing it can have all sorts of implications.
Like what?
Well, studies have shown that redheads may be more sensitive to certain anesthetics, while others might have less effect on them.
Really?
It's like their bodies process medication differently.
That's wild. It's like personalized medicine based on hair color.
Exactly.
You know, back in the day, people used to think red hair was just a simple recessive trait.
Right.
But now we're realizing it's so much more than that.
It really is. It's like having a different blueprint.
And this knowledge is crucial for medical professionals, right?
Absolutely.
Imagine a redhead going in for a procedure, and the doctor isn't aware of these potential differences.
Yeah, it could lead to complications.
Exactly. It really highlights the importance of understanding how genetics can influence an individual's response to treatment.
Couldn't agree more.
This is amazing. We're talking about personalized healthcare based on hair color.
I know, it's pretty incredible.
Who would have thought? Okay, so we've delved into genetics, geography, pain perception.
We have.
But what about those persistent personality stereotypes?
Yes.
You know, the whole redheads have a fiery temper thing?
Right.
Is there any truth to that, or is it just a myth?
Well, that's a question that's been debated for centuries.
I bet.
Unfortunately, many of these stereotypes are rooted in cultural biases and lack any scientific basis.
So no evidence to support a link between hair color and personality?
Not that we've found.
So it's officially busted.
Busted.
I have to admit, I'm a little disappointed. I kind of like the idea of redheads having this inherent passion and intensity.
I understand the appeal, but it's important to remember that stereotypes, even seemingly positive ones, can be harmful.
True.
They can lead to unfair judgments and limit how we see people.
Yeah. It's like judging a book by its cover. You're missing out on the whole story.
Exactly. And speaking of stories, redheads have certainly left their mark on history.
Oh, yeah. Remember all those famous figures we talked about earlier?
Of course.
Well, the list goes on and on.
It does.
From the world of art, we have Titian, the Renaissance painter, known for his depictions of vibrant redheads.
Beautiful work.
And then there's Galileo. Galilei, the astronomer and physicist who revolutionized our understanding of the universe.
A true visionary.
And let's not forget about Mark Twain, the iconic American author with his sharp wit and social commentary.
A legend.
So we've got artists, scientists, writers. Redheads really have been everywhere.
They have.
It's like they've got this secret society influencing every aspect of human history.
Uh-huh. Maybe they do.
And their impact continues in modern times, right?
Absolutely.
Think about all the influential redheads in the world today. Actors, musicians, politicians, athletes.
They're everywhere.
They're making waves in every field imaginable.
It's true.
It's inspiring to see so many redheads defying those old stereotypes and achieving incredible things.
It really is.
You know, I'm starting to think there's something about red hair that just attracts attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's on a canvas, a stage, or in a history book.
It's color that commands attention, evokes strong emotions, and has certainly inspired countless works of art.
It has, for sure. But it's more than just appearances.
Right.
Red hair often symbolizes a certain rebelliousness, independence, and strength of character.
I agree, especially in literature and popular culture.
Exactly. Think about Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, yeah.
With her fiery red hair and her independent spirit. Or Pippi Longstocking.
Another great example.
With her crazy red braids and her adventurous personality.
Those characters, they wouldn't be the same without their red hair.
No, they wouldn't. It's part of their identity, their strength, their charm.
Exactly.
You know, after all this, I'm starting to think that red hair is more than just a physical trait.
You too.
It's a symbol, a representation of a unique set of experiences and perspectives.
Well said.
And speaking of unique experiences, there's one more thing I want to mention about redheads and their sensory perceptions.
Okay.
Remember how we discussed their sensitivity to pain and temperature?
Yeah.
Well, research suggests that redheads may also be more sensitive to certain tastes and smells.
Interesting.
So they're not just experiencing pain differently, but their whole sensory world is heightened.
It seems so.
Wow. So do you think that explains why some people think redheads are picky eaters?
It's certainly a possibility. Imagine experiencing flavors and aromas more intensely than others.
Yeah.
It could definitely influence your preferences and make you more attuned to subtle nuances.
This is blowing my mind.
Mm,
We're talking about a whole different way of experiencing the world.
exactly.
Hmm.
And it highlights the interconnectedness of our senses and how genetics can influence our perception of the world around us.
It's like red hair isn't just a color, it's a key that unlocks a whole different way of sensing and interacting with the world.
I like that a lot.
Me too. You know what? I'm starting to feel a little bit jealous of redheads. Their lives sound so much more vivid.
They just might be
But alas, we're out of time for part 2.
already.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But don't worry, we'll be back with part 3 to wrap up our redhead deep dive. Until then, stay curious.
And keep an eye out for those fiery strands of wonder. You never know what fascinating secrets they might be hiding.
And we are back for our final deep dive into the world of redheads.
It's amazing how much we've
Oh,
uncovered.
no, right? Genetics, geography, pain perception, heightened senses.
It really shows you how much we still don't know about human diversity.
Totally. Like even the smallest genetic variations can have such a big impact.
They really can.
So I've been thinking about the cultural side of things.
Oh, yeah.
Red hair has popped up in mythology, folklore, art throughout history.
It has.
It's like it's always held this special place in our collective imagination.
It's true. Red hair has been seen as everything from a sign of divine favor to a mark of the devil.
No way, really.
Yeah, in ancient Egypt, for example, red hair was associated with the god,
Set.
known for his fiery temperament and chaotic nature.
So those stereotypes about redheads having a fiery personality.
Could be they might actually come from ancient beliefs about gods and magic.
Wow. It's amazing how these stories from centuries ago still influence us today.
It's a great example of how cultural narratives, even those based on mythology or superstition, can really stick with us.
They shape how we see the world and each other.
Exactly.
And it's not just ancient cultures either. Think about art.
Oh, yeah?
Botticelli's Venus with her flowing red hair. The pre-Raphaelite paintings of ethereal redheads.
Beautiful imagery.
It's like red hair has always been this captivating subject for artists.
It has. There's something about it that captures the imagination and ignites a sense of wonder.
In literature, too, we can't forget about that.
Both not.
Like Anne of Green Gables,
The classic.
with her fiery red hair and her independent spirit,
And Pippi Longstocking.
with her crazy red braids and adventurous nature.
Those characters, they just wouldn't be the same without their red hair.
Exactly. It's part of their charm, their power.
It's like red hair is this secret code for don't underestimate me.
I love that. It signifies a certain fire, a passion.
A force to be reckoned with.
And that connection between red hair and strong personalities continues to this day.
It does.
Look at all the powerful, influential redheads we have today.
Politicians, business leaders, artists, athletes.
It's like a whole redhead renaissance.
It really is.
They're out there proving that red hair isn't a limitation, it's a superpower.
They're embracing their uniqueness and inspiring others to do the same.
You know what? After this whole deep dive, I've completely changed my perspective on red hair.
Me too.
It's not just about the color. It's about a heritage, a legacy, a unique way of experiencing the world.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's a reminder that diversity in all its forms is something to be celebrated.
Absolutely. To all the redheads out there listening, rock those fiery locks with pride.
You are part of something truly special.
You carry a rich history and a vibrant energy that makes the world a more colorful and fascinating place.
And to everyone listening, remember that every person you meet has their own unique story.
Their own genetic heritage, their own set of experiences that shapes who they are.
Take the time to learn, to listen, and to appreciate the amazing tapestry of humanity that surrounds us.
Well said.
This wraps up our deep dive into the world of redheads.
It's been quite a journey.
It really has. I feel like I've learned so much, not just about red hair, but about human diversity genetics and the power of storytelling.
Me too. It's been a fascinating exploration.
A huge thank you to you, our expert guide, for sharing your knowledge and insights with us today.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to you, our listener, thank you for joining us on this adventure. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of redheads. We'll see you on our next deep dive adventure.
See you then.